Let's talk about food addictions and your gut health. Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Sylvia and I'm a big city mom. I live, work and raise my family in New York City, and whenever I have some free time, I blog and vlog about health through diet, lifestyle and nutrition. A few years ago, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and I wanted to get rid of this nasty condition through natural means. And a few months ago, I did just that with diet, lifestyle and nutrition. I was so blown away with the results that it finally pushed me to start this YouTube channel. So if you're on this journey yourself, you should definitely subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll get started with today's video. Food addictions are real, and I am speaking from my own experience. For the longest time, I was stuck in the loop of eating my favorite comfort foods that definitely I was addicted to. But by then I knew that they weren't good for my joints, but I continue having them because they were giving me that endorphin spike, release of serotonin that was kind of helping me to get through the day when I had to put up with the joint pain. And that went on for quite a few months, even though I knew that it was not helping me. Lattes, cappuccinos, and the keto-friendly sugar substitute bars were the hardest one to give up. So why does this happen, even though you know this isn't good for you and you continue eating it? Bread, pasta, crackers, cereals, pancakes, waffles, rice, potatoes are some of the most commonly known as comfort foods. And why do we call them comfort foods? And why do we have to exclude them from our diets when we are putting up with any chronic condition? Well, it has to do with our guts. Yes, I am back to talking about our gut issues. So there is a group of microbes that live in our guts that love to feast on refined sugars and carbohydrates. Anything starchy, anything sweet. They love it, they multiply like crazy, causing imbalances in our gut microbiome. But they do one other thing. These microbes also produce neurotransmitters such as endorphins and serotonin that hit our brains, giving us sensation of pleasure and happiness. This is why we call them comfort foods. This is why it is so hard to get rid of them from our diets, because our brain is asking for more stimulation, more endorphins, more serotonin. So it is appropriate to call them food addictions. Now, it doesn't end there. Those imbalances of microbiomes and the overgrowth on one type of microbes and not enough other microbes can complicate a lot in our bodies and cause a lot of health issues. Irritable bowel syndrome, chronic constipation, diarrhea, skin issues, autoimmunity being just one of many. So it is important that we pay attention to what we consume, how we feel about what we are consuming to achieve optimal health. They say that misery loves company, so this may be helpful if I tell you that pretty much everybody is addicted to one type of food or another. And it starts in early childhood. It's almost everybody that is being served either a bagel, a piece of bread, a cereal or oatmeal. I myself had to eat oatmeal, which as a kid I really hated, especially if it was made with milk. So we're being conditioned to be addicted to these highly processed carbohydrates from early childhood. So no wonder everybody is addicted. Now, when you run into the problems with health, you start questioning these foods. And when you try to quit, you know it is really hard. And there are a lot of signs you can actually tell that you are addicted. So you decide that starting Monday, you will stop eating your favorite cookies in the afternoon. Then the Monday afternoon comes and you make an excuse as to why you should have that cookie and that maybe you will start tomorrow. You are food addicted. Or you decide to limit the amount of favorite foods you will be consuming, but when it actually comes to eating them, you eat way too much, feeling stuffed afterwards. You are food addicted. And when you feel guilty after eating the foods you weren't supposed to eat, you are food addicted. And when you reach for your favorite foods to feel better and you actually crave them when you're not hungry, you are food addicted. And worse yet, you even might be diagnosed with gut issues, autoimmunity, or any other disgusting chronic disease. And you will be told not to eat the foods that contribute to those conditions, and you continue eating them, you are food addicted. I struggled with food addictions for many months, and you would think I would be extra motivated because I had a serious health condition and the diet was supposed to address it. Now, granted, paleo-ketogenic diet is really restrictive, so yes, I had to eliminate tons of food, but boy, it was months. I would start on it, I would be doing great, and I would break it. The cravings were crazy. I would go on for 2-3 days, sometimes 5 days, and then I would break it all over again. I was upset with myself. It was a constant back and forth until I got completely tired and frustrated with myself, and I was like, okay, this is it. I am going to take care of this right here and right now. And I am still perfecting the science of it, but I have a few good tips as to how to break your food addictions. By far, the most effective strategy to deal with food addiction is getting yourself into ketosis. Especially if you can achieve ketosis above 2, your brain will feel extra happy and focused, and you will feel a lot more productive, and you will be a lot more productive. Now, granted, there will be a transition phase where there will be a massive microbes die-off that those that used to consume carbohydrates, and that will cause grogginess and mental fatigue just for a couple of days. But once you hit ketosis, especially when you achieve the ketosis above 2, you will feel a lot better, and the waves of cravings will get a lot weaker, and eventually they will disappear. Now, while we are talking about ketosis, also it is important to increase your salt intake. That has to do with the metabolic changes that are happening when you are switching to ketosis. But there is also observation out there that a lot of people confuse their cravings for salt with cravings for carbohydrates. So be sure you consume adequate amounts of salt, especially if you are switching to ketosis. And we are talking about 1.5 teaspoons a day of salt. Now, also consistent with the ketogenic diet and ketosis is increase your fat intake. Now, I couldn't do it with the coconut oil, but coconut oil is really effective at battling carbohydrate and all other food addictions. So you can take a spoonful of coconut oil, and you will feel a lot better, and the cravings for all kind of foods will just slowly go down and disappear. Now, I couldn't do it because of my autoimmunity, and the paleo-ketogenic diet excludes coconut oil, and I noticed that I do have a reaction in my joints when I eat coconut oil. So I had to switch to beef tallow, and when I had the food cravings, I would take a teaspoon of beef tallow, chase it with warm water, and that took care of it. And it isn't the most pleasant taste. The coconut oil is a lot more palatable, but I kind of reframed it in my head that this is what I have to do to heal myself, and beef tallow became my medicine and not a food alone. Pay attention to timing and circumstances where you break your commitments or your diet. In my case, it's almost always in the late afternoon and evening. This is where I always break my commitments. So I pay special attention when 3 p.m. comes until I go to bed, where my thoughts are leading me. Is there a self-talk telling me you should take a break just for today? And when I catch myself doing it, I stop, I walk away, I do some breathing technique, and then I come back and carry on with the rest of my day. There are a lot of substitute foods that will be helpful to beat the food addiction. So for example, if you are depending on the fizzy drinks such as sodas, you can start drinking seltzer or sparkling mineral water. Nuts are also a good option to replace your sugary snacks. And when I was just on the conventional ketogenic diets, that's how I did my afternoon snacking, was actually nuts. Now these days on the paleo-ketogenic diet, I am not eating nuts, but if you can do it, if your health allows you, I think nuts are a really good option to kick your addiction to sugary snacks. However, when it comes to sugar substitutes, I don't think it makes sense to do it, simply because you will be still addicted to the sensation of sweetness. So when I had to give up on my ketogenic friendly bars in the afternoon, I still had withdrawals, even though they were sweetened either with monk fruit, stevia, or other sugar alcohols. I still had withdrawals from them, and that's because the brain is actually getting accustomed and addicted to that dopamine hit from the sensation of sweetness. It doesn't matter where it comes from. And there was recently a study published showing that a consistent consumption of stevia actually disrupts the communication of the microbes in your microbiome. I don't understand what it does. Is it positive or negative? But they were able to demonstrate that it does affect the way those microbes communicate. Alright, so these are my thoughts about food addictions and how to handle them. The struggle is real, but the benefits you'll get from getting rid of the food addictions is really worth it, especially if you are dealing with any chronic conditions such as autoimmunity. Alright, if you haven't yet, please subscribe, like and share, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!